Hello and welcome to the Hoop Troop podcast. I am Matt O'Connor, and joining me as he does on all of our shows, my cousin Luke Drobner.
What's up, guys?
And back once again is my brother Mike O'Connor.
Hey.
And the season's over, so I'm officially free of the Knicks for a little while. So as you can, for those watching on YouTube, I'm wearing my Mets shirt because it's baseball season, baby. But for
Mets.
everyone else whose teams are actually good, it's playoff season. We got some playoffs coming up, guys, tomorrow. Big time.
Yeah, we got the playing games.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that doesn't count as the playoffs, but it's postseason basketball as well.
It almost doesn't feel like it's happening. It feels like it's happened so quickly.
No, because isn't it kind of obvious who's going to win the playing games?
Why? What are the games tomorrow?
All right, so I will walk us through the games tomorrow.
And it has gone very quick, Mike. I feel like the season blew by. I feel like it was just yesterday where we were like, oh, the Lakers are in third place in the West, but it doesn't look good, and now they're not even in the playoffs. They're not even. LeBron's already in Cancun.
Oh, it's a whole
first one in at media day.
Yikes!
Yeah, we'll see what goes on. All right, let's walk through these playing games.
So tomorrow's games, we have the Nets playing the Cavaliers in Brooklyn.
That easy win, Nets.
Jared Allen is not playing. That game is going to be a net win by a good 15 points, would be my guess.
Are they
Who on
Brooklyn?
that team is stopping Kevin
They're
Durant?
in Brooklyn. No one.
No one.
That team's stopping Kyrie Irving.
No one.
Exactly.
And Michael, what is your skepticism? I feel like this is the most obvious, very clear Brooklyn win.
I just think they're tough. I think the Cavs are tough.
They are, but not that tough. Not good enough to beat that team with that star power. Look, I like a lot of what they have. Mobley, I like everything that they have going. Kevin Love, which I know we're going to get to the season awards at the end of this. Kevin Love very easily could be sixth man of the year.
No.
Why not? But whatever. I'm going to save that. We're going to get back to that. But they're a good team.
Oh, damn.
But they're not better than the Nets.
I'm not talking about the Nets not winning. I'm more talking as a consumer. Tomorrow night, I really want to enjoy the games. And
definitely. I'll be watching.
I think
I don't think Nets Cavs is going to be a bad game. You think it's going to be a bad game?
Well, it's a bad game. The Nets win by 15.
I think they win by 10 to 15 would be my guess. But I'm not saying they're up by that much the entire game. I think that's just how it ends.
I think it's a close game. Nets put them away. I think 4 minutes to go, Nets go up by 12 in that game.
Yeah. And that's about a weird thing this year, though, where they come out slow. And I guess now that it's the games matter, they probably won't do that. But they've trailed early in a lot of games. So I don't know. If the Cavs come out and just punch them in the nose, maybe not. But even then, am I going to count out the fact that Kyrie and KD are going to combine for 70 points? No.
Wait, is Patty Mills is the points per game leader on the Brooklyn Nets because KD and Kyrie haven't played enough games this year?
It's hilarious. That's actually awesome.
I didn't realize that.
I mean, he's but that's the thing. Even when you get down to the Nets bench, no, they're not the deepest team in the league, but you pull Patty Mills in. That's great. You have the versatility with big men with Drummond, Claxton. And then, I don't necessarily want to count him, but LaMarcus, they have enough going
forward
on.
depth. Zero forward depth. Name someone besides Kevin Durant who plays forward on that team.
Yes, exactly. I guess they do play Brown a little bit bigger. So
but he's
not a true power forward. Exactly. So I guess this is a weird matchup for them because the Cavs are huge, but I don't see any scenario where.
Well, I think go Mike.
Especially with Jared Allen out. I think if Jared Allen was in, you could have a different conversation about this game. I'm just looking at the Cavs lineup. They're really solid. Okoro too is length that I don't know. I think you could throw a lot of different combos on Kevin Durant, and I think same with Kyrie. I think you could definitely float different people on him, switch Garland, maybe LeVert on a switch. I think there's capable length.
I think Mobley's going to get the assignment, but I don't think Mobley's enough to. Yeah, I do. I think this is I think the Cavs should look at this there's no way we were ever going to make it out of the first. Let's say it's back to the old playoff format where 7's now playing 2. Right. They'd be playing the Celtics. Out. Right, they'd be out anyway. So they should take this playing game as if it was a 4-game series, and they should just let their guys play playoff basketball. You should give Evan Mobley this assignment and be like, look, this is what it means to play playoff basketball. Like, this should be a huge learning moment for some of these guys on this roster.
Which it will be. And I mean, we're only looking at the first playing game because they're the 8th. So they're going to, even if they lose, they have another crack to become the 8th seed, like the overall 8th seed in the playoffs.
True.
So
yeah, it wasn't even
right. And so, I mean, I think we all agree the Nets are going to win that game. But then you look at the other playing game in the East, and this is on Wednesday night. The Hawks and Hornets. I expect the Hawks to win that game. I'd kind of be surprised if they don't. And then I
still think that's going to be a good game. I think that's going to be like
Are you entertained
all these games
by
are
that?
Very tight.
Are you entertained by that matchup? Do you think that'll be
100%? Trae Young, LaMelo, come on.
That's a good game.
It is fun. I mean, like there's also just like a winner go home postseason game. Like that's very fun to me. So you could pretty much put anyone in those games and I'd watch. Granted, I'm not like this casual NBA fan, so I don't know. But yeah, the Hawks have a ton of star power. Kevin Knox, of course.
Yes.
But no, like I think between everyone on the Hawks who got them to the West or the Eastern Conference Final last year, and then the Hornets with LaMelo, Bridges. I mean, Gordon Hayward's out for this, but still, like they do
Hawks
have like a very, yeah. I mean, they have
Kevin Knox as the 5th power forward on their roster.
Oh yeah, he's atrocious and should never play in postseason.
Oh my God,
basketball. But fine, whatever.
Drafted 9th overall, and this is what you get.
I know. But anyway, it's my point. Let's say whoever wins that, I'm gonna say for argument's sake, it is the Hawks because just they got to the Eastern Conference Final last year, giving
Hawks,
them the
Cavs.
benefit of the doubt. Right. Hawks, Cavs. Maybe the size is more of a factor against that team. You know, I don't think
you mean the Hawks are going to struggle against the Cavs
potentially. I don't think that's a guarantee, and maybe Jared Allen plays in that second game. So you know, I don't want to rule that out. I do think that would be a very fun game to watch because I don't think it's a guarantee one way or another. But once again, like they got to the Eastern Conference Final last year. How am I not putting my money on the Hawks? I have to.
No, and I agree with you. I think it's the Hawks to lose. And if the Hawks ended up playing well at the beginning of the year, they'd be in a different situation. It might be the 6 seed or the 5 seed. They definitely underachieved this year. And there's definitely a feeling that if the Hawks don't make the playoffs, it was a bad year. It was a down year. They need to regroup. They need to figure out what to do. I think the Cavs are a good team, and I think overall, I think the play is going to be very entertaining.
For sure.
But
I mean, and right. And I think it does kind of the point you're just making about the Hawks. I think for, 2 of the 4 teams in the East, if they don't get in, which I don't think is going to happen, I think if the Hawks and Brooklyn don't get in, they're going to make some serious changes this offseason to like revamp their roster. And maybe in Brooklyn's case, it's just having Ben Simmons active. But
maybe.
I mean, I think it's big wake-up calls. If you can't get into the playoffs in that position when you're supposed to be these title contenders, more so Brooklyn than the Hawks.
Yeah.
But the Hawks should be a playoff team. They should. Their team is talented enough that they should. So I do think that they would need to go in and just say, hey, we got to make some changes here. I think something's got to give. Maybe they do finally get rid of John Collins. I don't know. But that's only if they don't get in. If they do get in, maybe it's a different situation.
I think the Hawks are missing a wing scorer. I don't think DeAndre Hunter gets it done. Kevin McCarter, I don't think is a scorer, but more of a shooter maybe. And Bojan Bogdanovic, I don't think his contract has been as valuable as they hoped it was. I think he played really well in Sacramento. He showed a lot of what he could do. Now that he's here in the Hawks, I'm not 100% sure if he's doing what he was doing in Sacramento. I don't keep track of him that hard. So,
yeah. I mean, no, I do. And again, I don't want to put the cart before the horse. Like, I think we need to see what happens in these playing games. But I think that's certainly on the horizon potentially.
I mean, last year Bogdanovic shot 47% from the field and 44% from 3. This year, they're both down to 43% from the field and 37 from the 3-point line.
Right.
And I mean, this is closer to what he was doing in Sacramento. In Sacramento, he really wasn't that efficient. Last year, he played really, really well. This year, he's been kind of back to himself. So, maybe part of it was just he was overvalued in free agency. Who knows? I'm pretty sure he's a big contract.
I mean, it cost the Bucks a pick, like they got docked because that tampering. So I think everyone kind of expecting him to be better than he has been. And maybe that is just, you're playing on the Kings. A lot of their games are essentially meaningless. And it's just like, I don't want to call him empty stats because he's a good player, but I think there could be a little inflation there by like just good player on a bad team. But all right, so let's rather than dive into like the Hawks' potential offseason troubles, because I think we can tackle that in the offseason.
Sure.
Let's take a look at the Western Conference play-in now. We got tomorrow night. The first game is Clippers Timberwolves. I don't know who wins this game.
My heart.
It's got to be the Timberwolves.
My heart is with the Wolves.
You think?
I want that so badly.
I mean, yeah, I would prefer that too, but I don't know that it's going to happen. The Clippers are good.
Clippers are really good.
The Clippers are really good. They have Paul George and Norman Powell back. Like why would I wouldn't definitively say that Minnesota's going to win that game.
I don't think it's definitive. I just want it to happen.
One thing they do have going for them is it is in Minnesota, and I know it's not like a huge thing in the NBA, but home court does matter to a degree. So if that is like the one little differentiator between these two teams,
and it's a Pat Bev revenge game
or a little playoff P, maybe, I don't know.
And I'll just say, I think in the West, I think it's fairly crucial to be the 7 seed. Memphis is really good, but
oh god, you don't want to play Phoenix. No, you do not want to be the 8.
I think being the 7 is crucial. Like Minnesota, if they had to play Memphis, I think you have an even better chance of getting past a 2 seed and moving on. So,
I mean, if it's going to be hard to get past the Suns, it's going to be hard to get past the Warriors.
I think, yeah. And
maybe not so much the Warriors because Curry's out,
but so let's say for argument's sake, because our hearts are all in it, let's say the Timberwolves win that game.
Sure.
That means the Clippers go on to play the winner of Pelicans Spurs,
which has got to be the Spurs.
No, I think the Pelicans. The Pelicans have been like one of the better teams since the deadline. As far as like these play-in teams. No, I'm not saying like in the NBA as a whole. So I do. I think the Pelicans win that. I think the Pelicans could get in. Is that insane?
Tell me more.
I don't like the Pelicans. I think they have a lot of great players. I think they need Zion back.
I mean, of course, but at the same time, like the Timberwolves are great. Like they're good in their own right. But
I trust Cat and Anthony Edwards way more than I trust CJ McCollum and Brandon Ingram.
Yeah, but maybe that's the case. I mean, I trust CJ more than I trust D'Angelo Russell on the outside. We've never seen Anthony Edwards in any postseason play. Like, I am not inclined to think that.
It's so hard to doubt Anthony Edwards with the confidence and the swagger around him. If there's one thing Anthony Edwards is going to do, it's going to be being better in high pressure situations.
Maybe, but I don't know. Like, think about the way that these teams match up. If that is the case, this is the plan. You're gonna have Valanciunas on Cat, which honestly, as far as centers that you're sticking on Cat go, like that's not the worst thing if you're the Pelicans.
If Cat was a post up big, I'd be concerned because I don't think Cat and Valanciunas match up well in the post. But Cat is so unique the way he finds his offense. He's more of like a forward than he is a center.
Sure.
And I don't think Valanciunas has the mobility to play a player like Cat or a Jaren Jackson or,
Sure, but not many centers do. I'm saying as far as just, some of the centers in the Western Conference go, I actually don't think Valanciunas is that much of a negative defensively against Cat when Cat's going to be on the perimeter and shooting threes and that sort of thing. I think he's mobile enough where it would be okay.
Maybe.
And then obviously,
what are your other matchups?
So I think, I guess realistically, they're not going to put D'Angelo Russell on McCollum, even though that's kind of the Pelicans have been playing a little bit in that. Does he start though?
The defensive matchup. He does start.
All right, so they're gonna put him on CJ. I take CJ 10 times out of 10 in that matchup. 100%. I think as aggressive and like, I don't know, good as Pat Bev is, I don't think it's enough. Then I think we
Stop
do get
CJ McCollum.
I don't think he stops CJ McCollum. No way.
Okay.
No way he does. You think so?
I think Pat Bev makes a difference. I'm not going to say – I'm not saying that CJ McCollum will have 20, 30 points. Pat Bev will make it difficult for CJ to get 20, 30 points.
I mean,
it's
maybe.
Not like CJ's like Luka Doncic or Kevin Durant. He's a smaller guard. Don't get me wrong, CJ's great in his own right, but I think Pat Bev will have a much easier time guarding CJ McCollum than he will Luka Doncic.
Well, of course, but at that same rate, CJ's like an elite offensive player, and then we can say what we want about his defense that obviously is lacking, but on offense, he's like one of the harder players to stop. Like he's so good at getting his own shot and creating offense that like I've never believed Pat Bev was that great defensively. I thought it's always been the case of like being vocal and aggressive. I don't think he's a great defender.
Right, but that's my point. It's a bother. Like if you go and play pickup basketball, and the dude's just like barking at you,
it's just an asshole.
It throws you off your game.
Maybe
it really, really does. So like it makes you uncomfortable. Pat Bev's not going to stop you defensively, but he's going to make you uncomfortable. Maybe that means you have to take an extra 3-4 shots to get your 25, but that extra 3-4 shots just might be enough to have the Timberwolves win.
Yeah. Then I want to get to the third matchup because maybe this is the differentiator. Because now we're saying the first goes to Cat, the second goes to CJ. I think the third is a toss-up between Edwards and Brandon Ingram. I could see that matchup going either way.
I see it as a neutral matchup. I think Anthony Edwards has the ability to score on Brandon Ingram, and I think Brandon Ingram has the ability to score on Anthony Edwards.
But so then why are we so set on the Timberwolves winning this game? Why am I the only one who thinks the Pelicans could pull it off?
Because I think go.
I think it's just optics. I think it's just general like buzz around the NBA. Like the Pelicans are, it has just been for so long that the Pelicans are garbage and Zion's questionable and heavy. I think it's just the narrative around New Orleans versus a 10 wins over 500 Minnesota team being like the surprise and like a pleasant thing. It's just the way that the narrative is. In my brain.
Or the narrative is the Pelicans haven't had Zion all year. They trade for CJ McCollum and now they're a playoff team. Imagine what happens when Zion comes back. Boom, narrative.
Well, Zion's not back.
And they're next season. They're 10 wins under 500.
Yeah, they're pretty bad. But if you look at that's most of that.
They need Zion back. I honestly think if Zion was healthy and playing basketball for the New Orleans Pelicans, they'd be a playoff team. Maybe even out of the play-in. But
yeah,
I don't think they have it this year.
Fine.
It comes down to Clippers. It's going to be Clippers and Timberwolves. It's going to be one of them.
In the 7-8, whatever it might be.
Yeah. So however it shakes out.
And the vibe I'm getting from Matthew is the Clippers beat the Timberwolves. I'm guessing how you're feeling.
That's kind of how I feel.
I'd want the Timberwolves to win just because I think it would be fun.
Right, I agree.
Neither the Pelicans or the Spurs are good enough to beat the Clippers. We can say that right now. There's a chance they might be the Timberwolves because we're not really sure. But if the Clippers end up losing that first game, it'll be Clippers 100%. I think Paul George is incredible. I remember that first game he came back and I was like, oh, the Clippers are done. They went down by like 20. I turned the game off. I was like, Paul George is just getting it back into like a warm up. And then when I woke up the next morning, I saw and so and with Norman Powell coming back, it just makes it easier. And I really hope Kawhi could come back because I think the team could be special. I think they have a great roster.
And it's lethal. I mean, it's the worst nightmare if you're a Memphis Grizzlies fan. Worst. It's terrible. It's kind of like
100%.
It's kind of like the Celtics having to play the Nets in the first round.
Yeah,
it's really bad. So,
and I think Ty Lue's a great coach. I want to add that too. When he was in Cleveland with LeBron, I was like, it's LeBron's show. But now that Ty Lue's kind of had his own thing, you kind of see the genius of Ty Lue.
I said the same thing about Eric Spoelstra. Very wrong there. Said the same thing about Ty Lue. Once again, very wrong. Like, as much as I thought they were just LeBron props, although Vogel just got axed. Like,
not yet,
I do think they are.
He hasn't.
No, it's officially today. Although the joke is that no one even told Vogel. They just announced it to the media that he's fired.
Yeah, I mean that's how it works in LA.
But no, I do think that Ty Lue is a great coach, and that's why I think like in these winter go home games when he does have all that playoff experience, I do think I'm taking him. But who knows? You know, the Timberwolves just extended their head coach, so they're clearly building something there, and maybe they have it. But right, for argument's sake, let's say the standings hold. I'm gonna give the Timberwolves the benefit of the doubt, leave them the 7, then the Clippers the 8. Let's talk first round matchups.
Okay.
The Suns are gonna beat the Clippers. I'll give the Clippers maybe, if they're lucky, 2 games. Maybe.
I think a lot of these series go deep. Let's break down.
You think Suns Clippers goes deep?
Yeah, hold up. NBA playoffs. Let's get up a calendar so I can see these matchups easier. All right. Let's start with the matchups that are already decided. Can we do that?
Yeah, sure. So let's start with the 4-5 in the West. Let's go to Mavericks Jazz.
I can't doubt Luka.
I think
this is the year he's winning a series. He's not playing the Clippers. He's got to do it.
I also think that's the straw that breaks the camel's back in Utah. I think if they lose that series, like they're either trading Gobert, Mitchell, or both. Something terrible is going to happen to that organization.
The Knicks lottery pick and Julius Randle and Deuce
a lot
McBride
more. They're going to have to give up Donovan Mitchell to get Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I mean, they might try and get rid of Gobert first to see if they can pivot and make something else work with Mitchell.
Who would want Gobert on that contract?
I don't know. I actually saw, speaking of the Mavericks, I saw that they were rumored to be interested. I don't know how much you'd have to give up or what you would do to take that on.
I think that'd be an epic fit in Dallas.
With Luka?
Yeah.
I don't know. It clogs the paint, though, and Luka does drive a lot.
A lot of lobs. I think it would be...
Maybe. I think that pick and roll would be solid. But at the same time, the crazy stats that are coming out... Yeah, maybe. I don't know.
Gobert's a rim runner, so right, you just have him do a hard roll, and you just there's 3 other shooters out there: Dorian Finney-Smith, Davis Bertans, and
Spencer Dinwiddie.
no, not Spencer Dinwiddie.
I know, but he's
Jalen
on the
Brunson.
team. Well, Brunson's probably going to walk. As we talked about,
maybe
they're going to have to get rid of him. So I don't know, but anyway, I do think.
Also, Dinwiddie's looked good on the Mavericks after leaving Washington.
Yeah, he has. I'm kind of surprised. But then again, I also think it's just anyone who plays Luka is going to look good because Luka commands so much attention. Tim Hardaway looks good, which I like Tim Hardaway. He's not as good as he looks. Let's
Hardaway
face it.
Jr.?
Yeah, of course he's not that.
We're jacking threes all day.
Yeah, exactly.
You're telling me this series isn't going to 6 or 7?
Totally is.
Going to 6 or 7, but the Mavs are taking it.
That's kind of how I feel. And the Mavericks, since the deadline, have been pretty hot because they were on the outside looking.
It's a bad defense for them too,
and they're
not winning games because they're just shooting the lights out or anything. They're just playing They're playing good basketball.
Shocked by how good their defense has been this year,
which is why they need Gobert. They'd be an elite defense if they had Gobert.
They already are. I'm pretty sure they have the best defense. Yeah.
Do they really?
I think since the deadline, they've had one, if not the top one, the top 5 defenses in the NBA.
Are you calling these rosters equal? I would probably, but again, correct me if I'm wrong. The Jazz probably have a better roster.
I'd say top to bottom, they're a little deeper.
But Luka, come on.
But then the star power is too much. That's
too much.
But we've seen Mitchell go nuclear in the playoffs, though. We've seen it multiple times, across different seasons. So, I kind of expect that to happen again.
That's why
but have we not seen Luka go nuclear?
Yeah, no, I totally agree. But that's why I think this is going to go 6 or 7. There's no way it doesn't.
Even though it was in the bubble, the Jamal Murray Donovan Mitchell boxing match we had was and I'm hoping something
unreal.
I'm hoping something
happens here. I think we're going to get that. I 100% think that.
I think we're going to get 40-point triple doubles out of Luka.
I think so too. Kind of like what he did against the Clippers.
Yes,
when he was going off like that,
he's gonna hit at least one game winner in this series
for sure. And I would be shocked if Mitchell doesn't do the same.
I love it.
It's going to be an awesome series. That honestly might be the series I'm looking forward to most in the playoffs in the first round.
Did you say, Mike?
I just think it's funny that we're blowing this one out of proportion. Watch it be the most standard. 5
worst TV ratings ever. Who wants to watch it?
I think it's the best. I think it's the best series.
But and again, it's not what this ep is for. But God, the Jazz lose this one in 5 games.
It's electric. That's part of why I'm rooting for it. Is because it would be.
Yeah,
the fallout from that would be unreal.
Fallout's crazy.
Yeah.
Where does
Maybe-
Quinn Snyder go?
Lakers, maybe. Like, I think the Lakers need like a winning coach. I saw that they're like Nick Nurse, but why would
If I'm a NBA head coach who actually has job prospects, why would I ever pick the Lakers?
Yeah, oh God, no, it's a disaster. You're
the
being
only
set
way
up
I'm
to
going
fail.
to the Lakers
is if they trade everyone.
Lakers, or I'm like Alvin Gentry and I have one job offer and it's the Lakers.
Oh my God, so sad. Anyway, they're not even part of this.
Nope. But all right. So all right. Gun to your head, who you taking? Mavs, Jazz.
Mavs in 7.
You're taking the Jazz?
I'm taking the Jazz in 7. I just think they're probably still better, and Luka Doncic is still in that Jordan era where he couldn't get past the Pistons. Like,
maybe. I think I'm taking the Mavs here.
It's not the Pistons, it's the Clippers. The Clippers are Luka's Pistons.
Yes.
He's not playing.
He doesn't have to face him right now.
I'm going Jazz in 7.
All right.
And I don't like it. I'm not happy.
So let's move on. Let's move on to the next series.
Wait. What's your prediction?
Oh, I think Mavs in 6 or 7. Just the opposite. Yeah.
All right. Let's move on.
My next favorite matchup of the Western Conference is coincidentally the 3-6 between the Warriors and the Nuggets.
Jokic is about to eat.
Except, like, I don't know. Draymond's back, and the Warriors are just better when he's on the floor.
Kevon, I mean, I don't think the Nuggets. I think it'll be a close series. I don't think the Nuggets are going to win.
Interesting.
So Kevon Looney's going to get sauced.
I think the opposite. I do think the Nuggets are going to win this series, and I think it's going to be like, I think they just have such a good chemistry going. I think that the Warriors have been good this year. Steph had been great and kind of fell off. Clay hasn't been himself since coming back. Like, Draymond hasn't had enough time to totally recover and get back to being himself since, being out for so long. I just think
concerned with Klay Thompson, not in a bad way. I mean, like, if I'm a Nuggets fan or I play for the Nuggets, I'm concerned that Klay Thompson is going to come out in one of these playoff games and just be like, today's my day.
Yeah.
And he's going to be Klay Thompson again.
I mean, Game 6 Clay is always on the horizon. Like, I'm not counting that out. But at the same time, though, like, he's not as much of a threat. And he has. It's not like you were going up against the same Splash Bros you went up against like 4 years ago.
But
no, absolutely not. But
you're going against Steph, who any night is going to. Did I hear
Steph back?
Is Steph not playing? I didn't know this.
No. Steph is playing. I don't know. He just hasn't been himself.
He is.
I mean, I
know he's out.
He's not playing.
Not expected to return during the regular season.
Yeah, he's going to play.
Reevaluated in a week 10 days ago.
All right, I'm gonna.
I think he's going to play.
I'm assuming he's playing.
Yeah,
I think it's tough to bet against that. I think the shooting there is undeniable, no matter who's guarding them. So, like, if the threes are on, it's going to be tough. But I think we're about to see some of the craziest Jokic playoff stats ever. Again, I mean, this is probably the best matchup he could have had.
It's a Jokic series. He's going to have 20-20 every night, and he's going to have at least 6 assists.
Here's the thing, though, is I think we all agree that that's definitely in line. I think it's a question of what the other Nuggets do.
Yeah.
Who's going to step up and help him? Because he's going to get what he's going to get. Then other people need to take advantage. And it's not like the Warriors are... What are you going to say?
The game plan also might be like, why don't we just let Jokic have 20 and 20? Why don't we let Jokic have 40 and 20?
And we'll still
Let's
win.
just make sure no one else does anything.
Which is what
like,
I'm
how
sure
hard is it
take.
to lock down Will Barton?
Not hard.
Aaron Gordon.
Say that?
Is Aaron Gordon going to go for 20 a game against the Golden State Warriors?
No. It comes down to Nuggets defense probably then. Like, that's probably what this comes down to.
And just how the Warriors shoot. Honestly. Mm-hmm. Like, I think if Clay is even like a fraction of himself, like, that's a differentiator.
I mean, Jordan Poole's been hot too.
Right.
I still think this goes 6 at least.
And you think, all right, so let's walk through it. Let's get a little.
I don't think Jokic goes down without a fight. I'm going to go Warriors in 6.
Michael,
probably Warriors in 6, but I don't want that. I want
Jokic
to advance.
I'm going Nuggets in 7. I think the Nuggets are winning this series.
Why?
I just like the way they match up. Like, I think they have a lot of versatility in their roster. And that's always been like a huge reason why the Warriors are so good, has been their ability to go small and kind of run teams off the court. the Nuggets are weirdly equipped to handle that. And also, like, when the Warriors aren't as lethal from three as they have been, like, it may not play in their favor to go that small. So they might want to try and match up a little bigger to neutralize Jokic. So I don't know. That's kind of why, like, I actually believe in this Nuggets team a little more than I think their seed indicates. So I don't know. And also, like, on the off chance they get, like, I don't think we're going to see like Willis Reed come out of the tunnel and Jamal Murray show up, but like, you never know. Like, I just think they could have a scorching hot series. Like, we saw them have some pretty awesome playoff runs. Why not? That could easily happen again in my eyes.
Sure.
And I think they could take it. The Warriors are weaker right now. They've fallen off from that 1 seed earlier in the year pretty hard. So I don't know.
And again, for not that Jokic needs like a legacy bump, but for his narrative, this would be helpful. Like,
oh yeah, definitely.
I think if he can win a playoff series, he's going to end up being a lock for MVP, even though people already voted.
Yeah.
But that's the thing. They wait too long to actually give out the awards. But yeah, totally. All right, so let's move on then. Let's assume that the 7 and 8 in the West just stay the same. And it's Timberwolves at 7, Clippers at 8. Grizzlies, Timberwolves. I'm saying Grizz in 5.
Yeah, I'd agree.
It's probably going to be a quick one.
Yeah, I don't think there's, honestly, I don't even know if there's much to say there. I think the Grizzlies are just better defensively. They are.
I think both of them play a very new age, fast paced, gritty type basketball. And I think everything that the Timberwolves can do is just as easily done by the Grizzlies. And on defense, right? Like, okay, we have Cat. Well, we have Jaren Jackson, or we have John Morant, and I don't think D'Angelo Russell is nearly good of an athlete to stop Morant, and Pat Bev, who we've mentioned.
Right.
I think has a history with Morant, and Morant's like, little man, you can't stop me. So
yeah, exactly. So I do. I think that's a quickie.
I want that to be proven wrong. But it's
I've been saying it since early in the year. Like, I like this Timberwolves team. Like, I think they're very fun. It would be nice if that series was like entertaining back and forth and went a little deep, because like,
I think
as Luke said, they're fun, fast-paced teams. So like, it would be cool if that was a long series.
It's gonna be exciting basketball to watch. It's just the Grizzlies will win the games.
Are going to win the games.
Yeah, probably. That's how I look at it.
Yeah, and
every game is going to be like 130 to 120 win Grizzlies.
Yeah,
every game.
Yeah, and then it makes it's not what the pod is. We're speculating on the first round of playoffs, but then like, is this the Timberwolves ceiling? Like, what the heck? Anyway,
no, they're getting better.
They can keep going up. If Anthony Edwards takes another step, they can continue to move up. The future of the Timberwolves solely relies on Anthony Edwards, though.
They're also in a good position because they do have a ton of assets. Like, they have all their picks, if I'm not mistaken. Like, they could really go.
They can make a move,
right? So, I actually do think that they have a lot of potential. And if they want to pair someone, like maybe another disgruntled star shows up, and they want to pair someone with what they already have,
I think there are rumors of Malik Beasley getting moved. I think he has a lot of upside.
Yeah,
he's a good shooter. So
I think they could move some pieces around. But again, we'll save that for the off-season pods.
All right, so Grizzlies crush.
Grizzlies win, and then I think it again goes without saying, Suns are going to beat the Clippers.
In 4
Suns and 6.
Yeah, I was going to say anywhere from 4 to 6. It's not going 7. Realistically, I think 7. It's probably not going more than 5. I think the Suns are such a well-oiled machine. I would be shocked if they drop more than at most 2 games.
I think Ty Lue works some magic. Paul George is obviously a superstar. The Clippers aren't a bad team. I just don't think they have the same chemistry that the Suns have.
Yeah,
so very similar teams. If you look on paper, from the head coach through the whole roster, very similar. They play a similar type basketball. Culture is very similar, things like that. So I think it'll be a good series. I just think the Suns are such an elite team that I don't think anybody can hang with them. So
yeah, I think so too. So all right, no, I don't even want to waste more time on that. I want to get to the Eastern Conference. So we'll start in the middle again. We'll start with the 4-5. We have Sixers or Raptors.
Matisse Thybulle can't play in Canada.
Cannot play in Toronto. So that is a factor in games 3 and 4 and potentially 6 if there is a game 6. I don't think that matters that much. I think this goes 5.
6.
Yeah,
really?
I think James Harden is a playoff choker.
He's also looked bad recently. Like, I don't know if they're nervous in Philly. He just like looks a step slow. Like, it's not really what I expected. And maybe the fat suit wasn't fake this time when he was forcing his way out of Brooklyn. But yeah, he doesn't seem like himself. And that is scary.
It's funny. It's not even what's wrong with the Sixers that, why is the series going to be close or go 6 games, in my opinion? I don't think it's because of what the Sixers lack. I think it's because of actually how good the Raptors are.
Yeah.
Which is weird. I mean, they're 3 games off of the Sixers in record. Like, that's nothing.
They had a great
But
season.
The East is so even. Everybody is so even in the East. That's the thing. Like, if you really look at 4-1, it's hard to say which teams are better than others. I guess you could say Milwaukee's really good, but
the Raptors, again, like they've outside of Van Vliet, who's a pure point guard who's doing everything right. You have all these like Boucher.
They have a fun brand of basketball.
Anunoby.
They're well coached.
They're well coached. They're all like long. They're all like long pterodactyl.
They're all 6'9".
Yeah,
they have
it's insane, and they can shoot. And then on top of it, they're well coached and they pass the ball all the time. So that's why I think probably a little like I think you could punch James Harden and the Sixers in the nose really quick and like stun them a little bit
potentially. But here's the thing: what was that?
If Villanova was an NBA team, it would be the Toronto Raptors.
That's actually a pretty good comp.
Yeah,
they don't. Their tallest player is 6'9", Chris Boucher.
That's crazy.
But I mean, like when you really look at their tallest player is only 6'9", but they have 6 guys who are 6'9". They have 3 guys who are 6'8". They have 2 guys who are 6'7". Right? And like it's not even like some of the other players they play are short. Van Vliet's the shortest player they play at 6'1".
So we're praising this because it is unique. It's cool. It's very fun to watch. And honestly, like it is smart. Like you just switch everything and you just play that type of defense. Who F is guarding Embiid?
No, you let Embiid go off and you
the same thing as the Warriors with Jokic. Is that what you're thinking?
Yeah, you let Embiid have 35, 20, and 4 every night. And you just try your hardest to make Harden uncomfortable because if Harden scores 15 points a game, like who else unless Tobias Harris is not going to do it for you. Like
we've seen him do it with the Clippers. He was pretty solid.
Tyrese Maxey could be a factor, but yeah, I think the Raptors are going to come out with an outstanding game plan.
Oh, definitely. I think that goes without saying.
And I think it's just going to make it hard for the Sixers, who have in the past shown the inability to adjust to anything. So it's
I think the one thing with that though is they don't have to make a tremendous amount of adjustments. You tighten your playoff rotation so that way you're playing your better guys, bigger.
You're talking about the Sixers?
The Sixers. Like I think if Embiid's out there playing 40 minutes a night, like they are going to win comfortably.
And
sure,
I think the problem with your tallest person being 6'9" is Boucher is going to foul out. Siakam is going to foul out. Like they're all going to be in foul trouble the whole time. This is going to be hard to watch. To be honest,
what happens if I mean, I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of calls. What happens if the game plan by the Raptors is do not foul Embiid? Whatever you do not foul Embiid.
Then he goes for 45 a game.
You're still going to lose.
Yeah, the only way to stop him is to foul him in most cases.
I might be talking myself into Sixers in 5 right now. I was thinking maybe 6.
Welcome.
No, I think it'll be Sixers in 6.
I want it to go 6. I mean, I think
it's also a rematch of the one where Kawhi hit the shot. Not that the teams are the same. Yeah, the teams are not even close to the same.
That feels like a distant memory.
I know, but still, you got to figure that plays a fact. Like Embiid is probably thinking of that playing this team.
And also, I guess maybe people don't think about it as much as we should, or maybe I'm overplaying it. But the fact that Thibault is not going to be in Toronto can make a huge difference.
Yeah. I mean, he's so good defensively that it could easily be a factor. Yeah, for sure.
The way the games are played in Philadelphia and the way the games in Toronto are being played might look completely different. And that might make it very difficult for the Sixers, who, again, have no ability to deal with, hard the changes of playoff basketball. They don't adjust, and it'll happen again. Doc Rivers will fail to make any type of adjustment.
All right, Luke. So what do you think? Let's prediction here. What is this series?
I just the star power on the Sixers is too much to handle. It's going to be Sixers in 6.
Michael?
I'll go Sixers in 6.
I'm Sixers in 5. So we got a clean sweep there. We all agree. Let's
move
on. Let's move on.
Cool that we're all giving the Raptors a game at least.
Yeah, I mean, I think
they're going to get one.
They're too good of an organization for that not to happen.
Nice.
They're going to win. They're going to win 2 games in Toronto.
I'll give them 1.
Moving on to a sweep, though.
Moving on to a sweep. My broom is out already. The Bucks are absolutely sweeping the Bulls. The Bulls are all banged up. They had they had a great season. They proved a lot of people wrong. They are not good enough. I don't think they're taking a single game against this Bucks team.
I had not realized that Patrick Williams came back, but he played a couple games.
Matter. Literally does not matter to me.
He didn't look good. I think the early hype around DeMar to Jordan.
I mean, he should be in the MVP conversation without a doubt. They had a great year.
If the Bulls were still top 3 in the East, he should be in the MVP conversation. But the fact that they're not top 3 in the East means that he should not be in the MVP conversation.
Yeah, because they completely fell off. And they just don't quite have it. They don't have what they need to beat a team like the Bucks. At absolute best, they're winning a game.
Yeah.
I could see some of these games being close. I do think they have a similar thing where they're pretty versatile. You can throw a couple different lineups out there. The Bucks just have way too much. The Bucks are so good. They're going to put Drew on DeMar, probably Middleton on Levine, Giannis on whoever.
I think it'll be Middleton on DeRozan and Holiday on Levine.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, yeah, maybe. But regardless, it's still pretty good matchups.
I don't remember exactly who the Bucks played. I don't remember. It might have been the Boston game.
Last year? Oh.
No, it was this year. It was a couple of days ago. I was watching TV, and I think it was Bucks Celtics, and I was like, wow, the Celtics are going to win this game. And the Celtics are a good team. But then the Bucks, and Jason Tatum was out, but the Bucks subbed back in Holiday, Middleton, and Giannis. And it just it was easy. They made it look easy. They came back and they won that game.
It's an unstoppable group. And they showed it last year. They're so freaking good.
3 guys who do everything.
They do everything.
Anybody could be everything well. Drew Holiday is a very complete player. There's nothing that he is bad at. With that being said, I don't think there's anything that he's really great at.
Agreed. But that's exactly why when everyone was going crazy that they gave up gave up 3 picks or what else they gave for him in that trade. They got a guy that
got him a championship.
They don't need him to be great at everything. He's just such a prototypical point guard for a team that doesn't need him to have the ball.
Right.
He's just he makes sure there's no weaknesses when the Bucks play a lineup that has Holiday, Middleton, and Giannis in it. There really is no weaknesses. Whether they put Ibaka out there or it's Lopez or they're playing small and they have
Bobby
Connaughton
Portis,
and
baby.
Bobby Portis can get in there.
And
it doesn't matter who they're playing. What?
I don't like him, but Grayson Allen too.
They don't have a weak spot.
That's what I mean.
They do not have a weak spot.
And
so the only way you're going to beat them is with firepower.
And
the Bulls don't have enough of it.
Yeah. I think the Bucks are going to come out of the East. I don't think there's a team able to beat them.
So let's go predictions here, Luke. What do you have?
I'm going to go Bucks in 5. I think one of the games will be close, and I think the
DeMar.
Stars that the Bulls do have will end up winning them a game, whether it's Vooch or Levine or DeMar. But
yeah. Michael?
Bucks in 4.
I agree. I think Bucks in 4. I think it's going to be a lot like last season when they swept the Heat in the first round, which that I didn't expect. And I was like, holy crap, this team could win a championship. I think they're going to erase this team.
Bulls?
Yes. I think it's going to be bad.
Which is almost good. Which is almost good for the Bulls because, again, not for this episode, but go to the drawing board, not in a bad way.
They have changes. They need to tinker a little bit, but they have a good foundation. That's what I was saying. They
it's
had a good
first year they were all together.
Yes,
they had a great
exactly.
Year. Yep. It's the year that they needed. Levine's in a contract year. They've shown that they could be a top team in the East. re-sign them, bring in some other guys. They'll have a better year next year.
Yeah,
100%. So, all right, let's move on now. And for argument's sake, I'm going to leave everything the way it is, except I'm going to say the Hawks get in and not the Cavs as the 8. Is that okay?
I was going to say, because we had this talk at the beginning of the episode. We're saying it's Brooklyn at 7, Atlanta at 8.
Yes, I'm comfortable going with that. So let's say the 7 against the 2 right now is Boston Celtics, Brooklyn Nets.
It's gonna be.
I don't even know where to. I don't know where to. You think it's gonna be awesome? I don't think it's gonna be close.
It's gonna be awesome. It's gonna be a really close series.
You think?
And they're gonna play a lot of games in Boston. Kyrie.
He's like their defensive anchor.
So, who
doesn't matter?
Who are the Tatum's going to match up with Tatum and Brown are going to match up with Durant. One of them is going to get the assignment. They're going to trade off. Both of them are good defenders, and Marcus Smart's going to play defense on Kyrie. And obviously, Kyrie and KD will still have 30 points, but they'll be slowed down to the point where the Celtics will be able to win a game. I think
a game
will win the series. They'll win a couple games. They'll win the series.
You think they're winning the series?
Yeah, I think it's going to be Boston in 6 or 7.
Oh, no way. Wow, I'm shocked. I was expecting us to be in a very different agreement. Oh, my God. You think Boston's winning this series?
Yes.
Wow.
The Nets are so dysfunctional. It's the same thing with the Lakers.
Yeah, all right. But
I think it's such a circus. It's an act. It's a theater, right? Like it's catering to Kyrie and Kevin Durant's genius,
whatever it is.
Which
exactly.
I think I got on the phone with Aunt Jean the other day. We were talking about Kanye West, and I was like, the dude is literally insane, but people are willing to excuse that because he's a genius.
Yeah,
which I think is wrong. If you're insane, you're insane. Like you shouldn't
but he was good at
participate in society, right? And it's the same thing with Kyrie and Kevin Durant. I think Kevin Durant says things at times where I'm like, I wouldn't want to be on a team with this guy.
No, I agree with that,
and
I think
Kyrie,
that's why Harden wanted out.
He carries, and Kyrie, the way he acts, I don't want to be on a team with him. And bringing in Ben Simmons, another guy where I'm like, I don't want to be on a team with a guy like that.
Although he's going to play, apparently. He's going to play in the playoffs.
If he plays, that's great. But
there's too much to figure out.
Too much to figure out. I don't think they're a cohesive unit at all. I think there were reports, whether or not Andre Drummond actually said this or not, the fact that someone reported Andre Drummond was saying that this is the only year he'll be in Brooklyn, that means a lot. Like they're like the guys who aren't Kyrie, Kevin Durant, and Ben Simmons don't want to be there, and that's going to lose them the series. Because Boston's going to come out. Everybody on Boston's a connected unit. They're going to come out. They're going to play great basketball. They're going to play together. They're going to win some games.
I agree. I think I'm just going to go with it's going to be awesome to watch for sure. But I still think like push comes to shove, probably Kevin Durant finishes this one in 6.
I was going to say Brooklyn in 6 was my prediction.
I'd like that.
I'm going Boston in 6.
I like it, and
wow, I think it's fun.
But I want to substantiate Luke and say that I think that could happen for sure.
100%. I don't you can't put it past Jason Tatum.
Yeah.
He's going to take another step, you know it. And Jaylen Brown, when Jaylen Brown needs to step up, Jaylen Brown steps up.
And you think Kyrie's not going to, how lethal and the fans are going to be to him? Kyrie will have awful games in Boston. Yeah. He's going to be completely out of his element. People are going to be saying really terrible things to him. Epic. He's going to cry on the bench. It's going to play off Boston Celtics in TD Garden.
Oh, fans are going to get it it's banned from the stadium for life is what's going to happen. Yeah. People are going to do dumb things. But it's bad.
People are going to do dumb things, and they're going to be idolized for doing those dumb things.
Yeah, that's why this series is going to be insane. It's like vintage.
There's a lot of bad blood there. The Celtics will not allow the Nets to win.
It's also just like a fun, like if you take like a little time capsule, like you go back to the Garnett Pierce trade and you think of where these two teams have come the last 10 years. Like It is a pretty fun matchup to see them now in this position again. But I don't know. I think it's much watched TV. And I think it goes 6 games, but I think the Nets are just better. I think for the same reason that in our conversation about the playing games before, that Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving are just better. They are just better.
I think I don't know how far ahead I'd put Kyrie ahead of Tatum and Brown. That's my concern.
Yeah, that's true.
And I think Kevin Durant is easily the best player in this series.
Then Tatum, I would say.
Yeah, exactly.
But then Kyrie,
it would have to be I'd even debate Jaylen Brown could be ahead of Kyrie.
Okay, fair. I mean, fine. I think they're in the same tier, but
100%. They're both all-stars.
Yeah. All right.
All right.
So let's move on now.
Hawks.
Heat Hawks.
I think
I was going to say Heat in 5. Yeah, maybe the Hawks get one just because if Trae Young gets nuclear again. Yeah, I mean, this is another one where they've kind of flown under the radar. And I think a lot of it has to do with like they've been playing with a ton of guys on injury throughout, like missing games due to injury throughout the season. Like, I'm pretty sure their starting lineup, like everyone has missed like 15 games. Like it wasn't like a comfortable season for them, and they're still the 1 seed. They're pretty freaking good, and no one's talking about them.
There's a difference between playing regular season basketball and playoff basketball, though. And when it really comes down to the playoffs, you have to look at who your stars are. And it's Jimmy Butler and Kyle Lowry, an aging Jimmy Butler and aging Kyle Lowry. Are they getting you past a superstar tandem in Boston? Are they getting you past the best team in the East in the Bucks? And even then, like, let's say the Sixers are playing them in the second round. Are the Sixers that bad where they can't challenge the Miami Heat? Is Joel Embiid going to get locked down by Bam Adebayo? I don't know. I really don't. I appreciate the fact that the Heat are the 1 seed. I think they're a great organization, well coached, top to bottom. Classy.
It's funny. That's how you feel about them. I'm different. I look at them and the Bucks as the top 2 teams in the East by far. And I think they are in a tier of their own, with the Bucks probably having an edge.
But I put Miami at 3.
All right, but that's not like I do think there is like a pretty steep drop.
I think it's not like a Milwaukee
going.
What'd you say?
What?
Luke has a massive Celtics thing going.
I do. I'm really big on the Celtics.
They
played great basketball in the second half. They had a lot to figure out.
They're missing Time Lord. He was the reason they got so good. He was their anchor.
Yeah, they still have other guys that I don't like. Just because he's out doesn't mean they don't have the ability to play the same type of basketball they've been playing. Is it going to be as good? No. They probably could have made it to the Eastern Conference Finals if Robert Williams was still in. They're going to make it to the second round. I don't think the Nets have enough. Like, Andre Drummond, woo, like, please.
Yeah.
And Fine. It's not like they don't match up on the wings and the forwards. They still have Grant Williams who likes to play defense. They have bodies. They run lineups, and it's not like they're running lineups like the Bucks where they run lineups with their centers. Who's on the floor with Giannis, or is Giannis at center? Right? They run lineups with their forwards. They run lineups with their wings, and I think that's what the Nets are doing too. And the Nets just lack depth there.
Yeah. So, I mean, I definitely agree with that. I think there is like a drop off, and I don't think the Nets have it. I think they'll win a playoff series. Like, I think they're going to beat the Celtics, but I
don't think they will.
I don't think they're good enough to get out of the second round where they're going to end up facing the Bucks. But
if the Brooklyn Nets were the 8 seed instead of the 7 seed, would they beat the Heat?
No.
Okay.
No, they got a good matchup. They got a good matchup in the Celtics that I think they can win. But I think the Heat would win that series in 6 if they had to face the Nets.
Okay.
I think the Heat are so slept on. I don't understand why.
I must be
Heat. What?
I must be sleeping on them pretty hard then.
No, oh my God, they're so good.
I know they are, but I don't know.
If the Heat and the Celtics played in the playoffs, who would win a 7-game series?
Probably the Heat.
Heat in
how many games?
5 or 6.
Okay.
Am I crazy for thinking this? I think they are truly like
it's gonna be a Bucks Suns finals. Let's just admit it.
It is. I think that is ultimately what we're gonna see. I'd be surprised if not.
And I think Phoenix takes it this time.
I don't.
No. You think
I don't know.
Giannis
We'll see.
I think if the Suns play anyone else, if the Suns play anyone else in the final, which I think is possible, I think the Suns get it.
I think it goes 7. If it's Bucks Suns, I think it goes 7.
I'd love another 7-game series.
Oh my God, it would be awesome.
It'd be sick. I think it's going to be a good year in the finals. I think someone good is going to come out of the East and challenge the Suns. ultimately, I think the Suns will take it.
Wow. Okay.
It's just
pretty historic in its own right. Like that's pretty.
God, yeah. It would be their first win in franchise history. And Chris Paul's first, Booker's first, pretty much everyone's first there.
Booker's going to average 40 in the finals.
I would love that, but don't you figure they're sticking Drew on them?
Doesn't matter.
It's hard to score 40 against Drew Holiday.
No. Not for Devin Booker.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I love Booker. He's so good. All right. So now that we have our at least first round and general finals prediction, want to switch and just do some year-end awards before any of the playoff series start. Who would we award them to? Because I know that it always like the lines blur and people are like, oh, he's doing this in the playoffs, which you're not supposed to factor in. So want to just go through and just I'll rattle off. We can start with some of the less fun awards and get to the MVP last. We'll save that.
Sure.
So let's start with most improved player of the year. Does anyone have someone they think deserves it? Because there's an obvious choice, but I think there's like 2 or 3 that I think you can make the case for most improved.
Couldn't it be Ja?
I think that's the obvious one. He's taken such a superstar leap that how is it not him? But then you look at guys like
Poole.
Well, Poole, yeah, but I was more thinking like Darius Garland going from like nobody last year to all-star is pretty impressive.
He's like statistically the worst NBA player in the league that played like a certain number of minutes. Like statistically the worst starter in the NBA.
Right.
And
turned it around. And I think the other guy, and like I don't think I would like really even loop him into this, is DeJounte Murray, who was originally an all-star snub, but he's basically averaging a triple-double, and like they're in the play-in, but like he's kind of the reason they got there. Like he carried the Spurs. He's in a small market though, and not going to win, and not flashy enough. But I think it's between those two, the Garland and
DeJounte Murray. DeJounte Murray is definitely the best player on that team. But as the casual fan, you might know Keldon Johnson's name too, which makes it hard for me to say DeJounte Murray.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be Ja. I think it's his to lose. Realistically, I'd be surprised if he doesn't get it, considering they went from bad last year to the second seed. I mean, were they not weren't they in the play-in? Like they were bad.
They lost to the Lakers in the play-in, I think.
Yeah. So I don't know.
They finished.
I'm sorry. They lost to the Warriors in the play-in, and it was such a good game.
No, right. NBA 2021. NBA 2021 playoffs. They lost in the Western Conference first round to the Jazz.
They did get in. They did get in.
I must be thinking of 2 years prior. I don't know what I'm thinking of.
But fine. That jump, though, to be the 2 seed in the West now, largely on his heels. And realistically, I mean, they are the second best team in the NBA, let alone just the West.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's got to be him.
Grizzlies beat the Warriors to make it.
That's right.
Oh.
And then they lost to the Jazz in the first round. Jazz were the 1 seed.
Yes, that's right. All right. Want to go to next award? Now that I think, we agree it's probably Ja.
I'd say it's Ja.
Okay. 6th man of the year. Another one that feels a little obvious. It's probably like the true runaway of all the awards.
Yeah, I couldn't really tell you. 6th man of the year.
Know. Who are you gonna...
Tyler Hero. No?
I don't know enough, but you have a heat, Chubb.
I do. Yeah, but I mean, Tyler Hero's been fantastic. Now I'm pulling up his numbers. Give me 1 second.
Yeah, I don't think it's that close if you included Kevin Love in this.
So no. I have reason for defending Kevin Love here. But no, Tyler Hero off the bench is averaging 20.7 points, 4 assists, and 5 rebounds.
How many games did he start?
He started 10 of the 66 he played.
10 of the 66 he played. Okay.
He qualifies.
I guess you couldn't really. Yeah. I mean, looking through Twitter right now, it's pretty biased towards Tyler Hero winning 6th man of the year.
I think that's definitely where it's trending.
I think it's happening. Once the buzz starts happening, I think it.
But here's my counter to that. Kevin Love has been awesome for Cleveland coming off the bench, and just his role on the team. Like, they're not asking him to come in and just chuck and score 20 a game, which is all that's being asked of Tyler Hero. They're not asking him to play defense, whatever. Kevin Love does it all for this team. Like, and yes, his numbers are lower. He's averaging 13.6, 7.2 rebounds, and 2.2 assists. Fine, lower. But he's done so much for this team. Like, he's also shooting almost 40% from three. Like, he's been so great. And I think him accepting that role off the bench in Cleveland, which was, I mean, last year, no one would have expected that. Like, I just think, why are we sleeping on that? And like, yes, the award does typically just go to whoever scores the most off the bench, which is, but then that's not the best six man. It's the best bench scorer. Like, that's what I've kind of been frustrated with the award for that reason, just for a while. Like, it's just, all right, who's going to be like a spark plug off the bench? Like, who's going to be a Jordan Clarkson or a Tyler Hero? Kevin Love should get it.
I think scoring off your bench makes a huge impact. Also, like, when you think about a 6 man of the year, you kind of think about someone who doesn't necessarily start, but would finish games. When the Cavs are in a close game, is Kevin Love finishing games?
Depending. It was. I think it was more situational. But
if the Miami Heat are in a close game, is Tyler Hero finishing the game?
Probably.
Over like Gabe Vincent or something like that, right?
Well, I don't know. I mean, they also they got Oladipo. Oh, by the way, with them being the one seed, getting Oladipo back, who just scored 40.
In like a G League game.
But like, is Tyler Hero closing games? Because you're gonna have Lowry in, you're gonna have Duncan Robinson in, you're gonna have Jimmy Butler in, you're gonna have Bam in, and then maybe PJ Tucker, maybe Victor Oladipo.
Okay, so maybe he doesn't finish games, but I'd definitely be more confident in saying that Tyler Hero is going to be on the floor in a close game than I would Kevin Love.
Maybe. I don't know. But yeah, I think I'm upset that it's such a runaway, because I would love to see Kevin Love get 6 man of the year.
Sure.
But I think it's going to be Tyler Hero.
Okay. I mean, just looking around very quickly, I'd probably agree with you a little bit. I think it'll be Tyler Hero.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think anyone else is even really in the conversation. I think it's really just those two and pretty much just Hero. All right.
Well, let me. I'm going through NBA stats here. I think I don't know if you guys do that. It's so beautiful, but
oh yeah, I love it. The filter is so great.
The filters are really nice.
Yeah. While you're doing that,
Jayshawn Tate scored more points per game coming off the bench than.
All right, but like, the Rockets were bad.
He played one game off the bench.
Yeah, no thanks.
Jordan Clarkson.
He's gonna be like the new Lou Williams, like always kind of.
Emmanuel quickly. Come on, guys. Where's our New York?
I mean, I would love it, but the Knicks sucked and Tibbs barely played him. So
yeah.
Kevin Love's up there. He's 70 games off the bench. Montrezl Harrell. He was in the MVP conversation for a little bit.
Yeah, no, pass.
This has as much to do with narrative as anything. Also,
it's gonna go to him
around him, like around Hero.
Mm-hmm.
So
I mean, just looking at the guys who come off the bench, it kind of has to be Hero. I don't think anybody who's played enough games off the bench makes enough of an impact. I mean, like when you look at some of the numbers here, or look at some of the guys who played a lot of games off the bench, like I would never do like Valencia on the Warriors or DeLone Wright, George Niang, Peyton Pritchard. Like these guys aren't.
No, they're not going to win the award. That's why it really is just, I'm trying to give Kevin Love more hype than he deserves, I think. But I would like to see him win it. But no, I think it's Hero. All right, let's move on. Coach of the Year.
It'll be Monty Williams.
I think that's another one that, because Tibbs won last year, undeservingly over Monty Williams, who should have won last year. It's going to be Monty Williams. But shouldn't it be Taylor Jenkins with the Grizzlies? Like, am I crazy to think that his performance coaching that team is more impressive than what the Suns have done?
Yeah, but I don't know. I feel narrative first, best record in the NBA.
Like
I guess, but then they have. Memphis is the second best, and Ja missed how many games? Ja missed like at least 15 games.
How many games did Chris Paul miss? How many games did Devin Booker miss? You could make the same argument.
If the Grizzlies come back and do something consistent to this next year, I think then it's his. But it's Monty's.
It could be a fluke this year. Like the Grizzlies just got lucky with their strength of schedule, or John Morant had an up year or something like that.
Look at Tibbs last year, won the award. Yeah. That couldn't have been flukier.
That was
New York.
This feels more sustainable.
That's New York. This is Memphis.
Oh my god! So that's why this is happening.
Yes.
No, this is we
coverage.
Screwed Monty over. We screwed Monty Williams over last season, so we're giving it to him. That's what the award is.
Yeah, he deserves it.
He does deserve it, but last year, not this year. The best coach this year has been Taylor Jenkins. He's just not going to win the award.
I think it's not about who's the best. It's about.
I think that's arguable.
Baloney. I'm over the voters. Let me vote.
Kevin
Love, Taylor Jenkins.
Think about all
my ballot would be hilarious.
You could make this argument like this. You could make like who's the league MVP every year? LeBron.
Yes. And I would vote for him every year.
Then why doesn't LeBron win MVP every year?
Because this league sucks.
How come if you're telling me coach of the year should go to the best coach in the NBA, why isn't Greg Popovich winning the
just getting it?
I know.
Right?
Fine.
So it goes to the person who deserves it the most.
It's going to be Monty Williams and then Taylor Jenkins next year. If
maybe. I could see it. Yeah. But Spoelstra's not even being really talked about, and the Heat are so good, and everyone missed time on that team.
Yeah. It's just the way the narrative thing works.
I'm over it. I'm happy for Monty Williams. I think he deserves it last year. I think if Tibbs doesn't win Coach of the Year last year, he's fired after this season. Whatever. We're stuck with him. All right, let's move on because I think we all agree it's going to end up being Monty Williams, and I need to just stop being a baby about it. All right, Rookie of the Year.
Scotty.
You think? You think it's Barnes?
Probably or Mobley.
It's Barnes or Mobley, and I think it's a coin flip. You think Cade?
There's a lot of guys you can make. I think there are three guys you can make an argument for, and I think it starts. I think, in my opinion, it starts with Evan Mobley, who's made an impact both defensively and offensively, averaging 15 points a game. We all know he can play defense. He does a lot of little things, but I mean, what Cade has done with the Pistons in the second half, he showed the ability to run an offense. He's played outstanding. And obviously you have Scotty Barnes, who's doing a lot of similar things to Evan Mobley, where he shows off his outstanding, well-balanced, well-rounded game. And I think the difference between Mobley and Barnes is that Barnes has more responsibility in that system.
Right.
Which is why I think Barnes might end up edging out Mobley. But when it really comes down to it, it's like who has the most responsibility and who played the best with that responsibility. And I think that's why you could also make the case for Cade.
I mean, like I look at this, and again, it's a difference of 5 games. Like Mobley did miss that time, but Scotty Barnes played 5 additional games. And as I've always I don't know who coined the phrase, but the best ability is availability. And I think that's a factor. 5 additional games of them both playing at their top ability is huge for a team. And I think that's potentially part of the reason why Toronto ended up in the 6th spot and Cleveland fell off so much.
They're in the 5.
Toronto's 5.
Oh my God, Toronto's 5. Excuse me. Sheesh.
I think also, yeah. I
mean, Cleveland was like up in the 2 or 3 spot for a while. I mean, they were 1 at the beginning of the year, but that doesn't really count.
I think it'll be Scotty Barnes. I also think
it's going to be Barnes.
I think the buzz train leads me to believe that. Like I think they're talking about it already.
Right. I mean, I do. I think it's between them. Look, Cade figured it out towards the end of the year, but it just isn't enough. Like I can't imagine him getting into that conversation.
You want to think about somebody who played well the whole year?
I really do, though. Like I would have a hard time picking one over the other, and I would probably go Barnes, but I am not like sold on doing that.
Okay.
Yeah. All right. Let's move on. Let's get out of that. Let's go to
MVP.
I guess defensive player of the year. Do we care about that?
Yeah, we could do defensive player of the year.
Giannis.
I don't even think he's gonna like. I think he's gonna be like a first team all defensive.
Defense.
But like,
I think
is it
Rudy
Bam?
Gobert? It could be
Rudy.
Bam. It could be Marcus Smart.
It could be Marcus Smart. I think it's like somewhere. It's like any of those four.
It'll be anybody not named Rudy Gobert. Anybody who's first team all defense not named Rudy Gobert. And that's because Rudy Gobert's won, 3 in a row now? 2 in a row?
Yeah, it's probably not going to be him. I'd be
surprised. Not going to be him. And also, I think there's a lot of, again, we talk about narratives and how Monty Williams is getting this because he deserves it. Rudy Gobert does not have a great profile. I'm forgetting the word for it. It doesn't have the best reputation around the league. There
and so, I also just think the conversation's not really there for it. Okay. I think with the, what were you gonna say?
Well, I mean, I don't think it will be and should be Jokic.
Defensive player of the year?
No, I'm sorry, for MVP. And I think also just because of who deserves it or like who they're talking about, I think Embiid probably would be sooner to get it than Giannis this year, which is dumb. Like, I don't know if it's dumb, but it's such a gray area that I think the consolation prize for Giannis will be the defensive player of the year.
Interesting. So you're saying, okay, that actually makes sense from a voting standpoint, but I don't know. I could see it being. I'm going to go with probably Marcus Smart would be my guess, but I don't love that either. Maybe Bam. I think it's any of those four we listed, but I do think it's going to be like a weirdly flat vote where like someone's going to be voted first on one ballot and then like fifth on another. Like, I think it's going to be pretty spread out. Whereas like, I think in the past it's been Gobert on runaways or like Giannis on runaways.
I think defensive player of the year this year is very,
it's kind of boring to be perfectly honest. I don't feel boring. Like, well, it's also just that I don't feel like anyone like really has been like that true defensive stopper where it's like, oh my God, we have to play them and we're facing this person. Like, I haven't overly felt like that all year. So, I don't know. But
I mean, looking at it, some people say Gobert, some people say Giannis. I've seen a lot of Robert Williams.
Time Lord. And you guys are saying he's not valuable to that series.
He is valuable, but I think they have other guys behind him. So, I can understand what Mike's saying here a little bit, where they give Giannis Defensive Player of the Year just to give him something.
Yeah, I mean, maybe. But all right, so with that, let's go on to MVP. Who do you think wins?
There's some cases for a lot of people.
I am going Jokic. I mean, without him, that team is like very much a lottery team.
I mean, I'm going to give my unbiased opinion here. Luka Doncic. Definitely not biased.
But like, he had such a slow start to the year that, yeah, but if you look at the other guys in the conversation, if you look at what Jokic has done, what Embiid has done, what Giannis has done, they've been consistent throughout. They've been good for the whole year. And I think that's enough to not give it to Luka. Yeah. I think Luka finishes top 5 in voting, undoubtedly. I'd be shocked if he doesn't.
Just not yet. There's a clear upper.
Don't show up fat to day one. It's like, literally, I mean, he was out of shape to start the year. Don't show up like that.
And like
Jokic does it too.
And I know that.
Yeah, but even when he's fat, he's dominant.
And not that it matters, I guess, but like, man, like Luka's really bad with talking to the refs and really bad with other things. Like, I think those things actually stack up against you. Which,
well, you hurt your team.
He does get teed up
with those tees.
Like, I think that kind of disqualifies you. I think the person who's really kind of getting not even considered in the right way is Devin Booker.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't know.
He's not going to get it, but I think
he probably won't even finish top 5 in voting. I'd be shocked. And it stinks because like he is kind of deserving of it this year.
He is. He's been the best player on the best team. But when it really comes down to it, you think about the other players on that team and what they've done.
Yes.
He is not the clear-cut leader on that team.
No.
You can't, when you look at, you could always make the argument for Chris Paul being the leader of that team.
The leader, but.
And just generally they're, it's a good system. It's part of why Monty Williams is going to win Coach of the Year.
MVP is the leader and the best player.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, so 100%. Which is why I think it truly is a 3-horse race. I think it's between Jokic, I think it's between Embiid, and I think it's between Giannis.
Yeah.
And then I think you have guys like Booker, Doncic, Ja, DeRozan, who all have had great seasons and like have led their team to like
DeRozan's not going to get any votes.
No.
Fine. Maybe not. But I think that those are guys who are at least in the conversation. Maybe Jason Tatum too. You can make the case.
But it's the three. I think it's
the three of them. It's really what it boils down to. And so I think it's a matter of your preference. I think Embiid has been dominant in his own right. I wouldn't be surprised if he wins it. I think what Giannis has done, particularly in the back half of the season, has been some of the best basketball I think we've seen him ever play. And if he's already won a few MVPs, if he's playing better than he ever has, like how does he not win another one?
And you put that the Nets game. That Nets game the other week was one of the best regular season basketball games I've watched in a long time too. But yes. So then you're for someone.
I think it's good.
And then Jokic too. I mean, you look at what he's done. He's dragging a team of misfits almost. Like, and yeah, they're only the 6th seed.
I mean, they're not bad. Don't get me wrong.
No,
they're not as good as they could be.
I also think, right. So no, they're not as good as they could be. And the other thing, Jokic leads the NBA in like every advanced stat. I mean, and I know that's not like a big sell to a lot of people. It matters. And it's a good indicator of who's good and who's bad in the NBA. For him to lead in every single one, come on.
The advanced stats are there for a reason, right? Like the reason why these advanced stats are created is for people who really care about the game and try and break it down to the numbers and want to make good decisions. They create these metrics to evaluate players outside of a standard box score. They try and combine a little bit of the eye tests. Like, okay, this guy looks like he's good and he's contributing to winning basketball. And they put that into a number. And I think it makes a huge difference. It comes down to narrative, as we always talk about. When I think about the top 3 guys, and I agree with you, it's going to be Giannis, Jokic, or Embiid. When I think about Embiid, I don't feel compelled to vote for him. I don't know if you guys feel the same way.
Well, I think the way that the Sixers have played since the Harden trade has not been inspiring.
Doesn't make me feel good.
Right. And so I think that's enough for him to get docked a couple first place votes, which I think will make all the difference. Sure. So I actually think he's going to come in 3rd. I think it's actually now Giannis has sprinted up and is going to vault Embiid, and it's going to be between him and Jokic.
I think it'll be Jokic, Embiid, Giannis.
Yeah, I do. I think we all agree it's probably going to end up being Jokic, though.
The only reason why Embiid finishes ahead of Giannis is because Embiid gets more first place votes than Giannis does.
Yeah.
But Giannis receives like every second place vote, but Embiid's going to receive some first and he's going to receive like all the other thirds. And I think Jokic is just unanimously going to be the first choice.
Interesting. I don't think it's going to be
almost
that
unanimously.
Clear. I think it's going to be a weird thing where the Jokic camp has him 1 and Giannis 2, and the Embiid camp has Embiid 1 and Giannis 2. And I think that's going to be where it gets weird.
I think another thing to point out is the very interesting fact that the top 3 candidates for MVP this year are big men.
Yeah, it's fun.
I guess Giannis is a forward, but when you think about it, like Embiid's definitely a center. Jokic is definitely a center. And when you look at the past 15 years of basketball, the best players on the teams haven't been big men. They've been wings.
The last center scoring title was Shaq.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's fun. I mean, like it is a unique MVP race. And like normally I feel like it's never this spread out where you could really make a case for multiple guys. Like it has kind of been a runaway the past few years. So I am excited to see what the vote tally comes out to look like. But personally, I hope it's Jokic. I think he deserves it, but I wouldn't be shocked or upset if it's any of the other guys.
Okay.
Yeah. Now, oh God, I'm looking at the time. We've been on here for a while.
This was
I believe it.
Serious.
But we were overdue. The season ended. There was a lot to talk about. We kind of had to grind this out as a little playoff.
I don't think there's anything
preview.
wrong with recording a long episode.
This
Who's listening? Who cares? I feel like we should just record.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah, this was a blast. This was a good one.
Yeah. But all right. So this is the Hoop Troop podcast. Thank you for joining and tune in next time.